Good afternoon. I'm Lieutenant Donna Fegley. I was at the 91st Evacuation Hospital in Chu Lai, Vietnam from 1969, September 7th to September 6th, 1970.
I'm Staff Sergeant Claire Brisbois, now Starnes, and I arrived in Long Binh, Vietnam in February 1969. I was a translator with an engineer outfit out there. And 6 months later, I went to Saigon and became a photojournalist for the Magvie Observer, if anybody knows what that is. And I served 2 tours there. I came back home in March of '71.
I'm Jane Hudak. I was Lieutenant Jane Westfelling. I served in Vietnam as a nurse, 1971 to 1972. I was stationed at the 95th Evac Hospital in Da Nang.
I'm Sharon Stanley Alden, and I first joined the military did this in 1966 and went to Vietnam, served at the 71st Evac from February of 1969 to February of 1970. Through a long and winding road, I have been in and out of the service for many, many years, and I have had the honor and the privilege of serving in every single decade on active duty since the 1960s, and I retired 2 weeks ago.
I'm Priscilla Landry Wilkowitz. I was the Spec 5. I worked for the Inspector General's office. I got to Vietnam January 5th of '68 and left September 5th of '69, ETS, and I'm Louisiana proud.
I'm Mary Hay Wilson. I was in Vietnam 1967 to '68, and I know that this is probably something that's of interest to you young women. If I could have done what you all are doing today, I never would have gotten out of the service.
Sergeant First Class Carol A. Gitman, Vietnam 68 to '70.
I'm Diane Carlson Evans. I served in the Army Nurse Corps from 1966 to 1972. Had 2 different station assignments in Vietnam from '68 to '69. But when I came home from Vietnam, I was so proud of the women I had served with, and I was so mad at the Army, the Air Force, and the Navy, and everybody else for not honoring the women. So we now have a Vietnam Women's Memorial at the Vietnam Veterans Memorial to honor and recognize all those wonderful women who served during the Vietnam era. All of these women right here.
I'm Colette Kaiser, and I was a captain at Quinh Nhan, 67th Evac Hospital from February of '69 to February of '70. And I was an operating room nurse, and I came home, stayed in, and retired in 1990 as a colonel.
I'm Brigadier General retired Connie Slowitsky. I was assigned to Vietnam in June of '67. I was at 2 hospitals there, the first at Vung Tau and the second at the 6th Convalescent Center.
Hello, I'm Janet Rexroad Southby, and I served in Vietnam as a 2nd lieutenant. I retired about 31 years later as a colonel. But I do want to say that's me having lunch, sitting on the concrete pad, and you can see what our hospital looked like. We took it in on the troop ship, and we think we did a good job, but we were happy to come home.
I'm Doris Lucky Allen. I warned them against giving me this microphone because I said I was going to talk longer than 2 minutes. I was going to talk until I finished. So, okay, never mind. Okay. I was in Vietnam from October 1967 until September 1970, 3 years. I have 10 combat stars. I have 3 bronze stars. And with all this stuff, I can go on a coffee shop and give me $1.25, and I can get a cup of coffee.
I'm Colonel Retired Darlene McLeod, and I served in Vietnam in Cu Chi from September of '69 to September of '70. I currently reside in Alexander, Virginia. I would not give you any amount of money for my service in Vietnam.
Hi again. First of all, thank you, General McWilliams and the Army Foundation, for recognizing us. I am Nancy Jurgovich. I was the company commander at Long Binh, which I considered the best assignment I had in all my time in the military. And there's one lady here who should be up here right now that I have always thanked for that, and that is who we all know, General Pat Foote. And she has been my mentor and my heroess. I also extended over there, and I was a staff officer up in 1st Logistics Command. And again, I would not trade at experience. Let me also give you you might see my little blue jacket that I'm wearing, and something that we as Vietnam women veterans, and I'm talking mainly line and staff, these two ladies that we have here, Claire and Priscilla, back when we had the dedication at the Women's Memorial, they said, we need to have a get-together, we need to have a reunion, and we need to make this a healing experience. I owe them so much credit that they got this organization together. I currently am the president, but I always want them to know we would be nowhere without them, and they still work very hard for our organization. The purpose of our organization is for healing and educating and assisting our line and staff women of all services that were in Vietnam. And that's Army, Navy, Air Force, and Marines. Can't say Coast Guard because, to my knowledge, there was none there. We are getting ready for our conference in Biloxi, Mississippi, April 26th to the 29th. We welcome any of our group to come, and if you happen to know a woman who was a line and staff woman and they're not aware of our organization, please have them track us down. We would love it. Claire did a great job in locating so many of our women, but there's still a few that we have not been able to locate. And hopefully we're going to get General Cobb down there to give her presentation. Our women would love it. And thank you again.
General Foote, where are you? You're a Vietnam veteran, ma'am. They want you up here.
Okay. You know, we have had marvelous speakers, Dee McWilliams and Janet Cobb, who have given you a real good picture of what the circumstances were in being assigned in Vietnam as women, or as men too, for that matter. And we thank you for your great words. I am going to deviate somewhat because there was humor in Vietnam also, quite a bit of it. And I would call your attention first, the picture on the far right was taken in the village of Phuoc Tien on the South China Sea the day after the Viet Cong had attacked the village. They were very pro-us, and they had a Marine Civic Action team there, and I got to go visit them. I will call to your attention one thing. Look at my battle gear. Jungle fatigues, soft baseball hat, camera, M16 purse, and nothing else. We did not go to Vietnam prepared to go to war because we weren't supposed to go there, but we did. The second picture was taken at Bong Son with the 1st Cav Division, and I'm sitting on a tombstone. And here, for all of God and glory, you see one of my former failings of many years ago when I smoked like a chimney. There's a cigarette there in my hand. But let me back up one more moment. Let me tell you about the day I got on an airplane at McGuire Air Force Base in January '67 to go to Vietnam. There was me, 2 other Army officers, a group of Navy officers, 130 young men, infantry, right out of Benning, who were on their way to the war zone. And of course, I, the only woman, led the parade up the plane. Halfway up, the cosmetic case, which I was clutching, opened. And the contents went spilling down the steps like nothing you've ever seen. Well, we had those men scrambling like mad, picking up my dainties, my personals, what have you, cramming them back in. And this one young man, about 19 years old, came up to me, plopped a lipstick in, and said, "Ma'am, this is great going over, but if you pull this stunt and coming back home, we're going to run right over you." And he would have. I worked with a wonderful group of people in Vietnam. I was the only woman for almost my entire tour assigned to public affairs, because I was very fortunate to have been promoted out of my boring staff job in Saigon en route. I went from captain to major, so they put me in public affairs. And I was one of the few women, other than nurses, who were all over the battlefield. I was one of the few women who got to go out routinely to the 2 core tactical areas, to all the divisions, the separate brigades, wearing my battle gear, I should say, to try to help the information officers at the division level in their work. So I got a view of Vietnam that was total. I got to go everywhere. And I felt myself very lucky, because most of the women who were assigned there, other than nurses, were pretty well staying where they were in Saigon, Cam Ranh Bay, Nha Trang, Quy Nhon. They didn't travel very much. I did. How did I get to Vietnam? By going around Colonel Hoisington. She twice disapproved my request to be sent to Vietnam. Then I came up for the advanced course and had the option to go to the Adjutant General advanced course, other than the WAC advanced course. And I said, I'll do that, because those boys would send me to Vietnam in a heartbeat, and they did. General Sherry Kadori and I were in that class, and we went over there together. I lived in Long Binh for 6 months, and Saigon for 6 months, and in the RMK construction area with the women who were in the Women's Army Corps, the detachment. And we all shared the billets. The walls were half board, half screen. I slept under a shower curtain most of the whole year, and not a thing I had was not mildew. It really was. But we had a wonderful group, wonderful camaraderie. The WACs would get out every night and watch movies, and invariably they were war movies that they watched. I think we saw every John Wayne movie you could see. But in the meantime, all of these women, all of them here, and all of them, wherever they are, the 8,000 plus who are scattered across this country, were working 12-hour days, 7 days a week. And it was real tough work. I did get to ride on a Cyclo, which is a Harley Davidson with 2 seats up front in downtown Saigon, and you get to play the bumper. You're sitting up there, and oh boy, you may make it back, you may not. But it was a year of growth for me. It was a year of growth for all of us. I had an extra duty every morning at the R&K building to go wake up the WAC officers. They knew I got up at 6 o'clock or 4 o'clock. And I would run up and down that 2nd floor yelling, "Crack, crack, the dawn is breaking." They wanted to kill me. But I told that was better than hearing that guy do "Good morning, Vietnam" at 6 a.m. And you remember that? Yeah. But it wasn't all fun and games. I had pneumonia. Peggy Prossen's probably going to get a hook and pull me off in any minute. But I caught pneumonia in Vietnam, was in Third Field Hospital being processed in as the only woman patient in the hospital. And while I was in the emergency room, the doors crashed open and in came a team that had just come in on a medevac flight, bringing a young man who had been hit by mortar fire down in Dong Tam in with the 9th Division. And the young man was saying, I can't breathe, I can't breathe. And he quit breathing. And that medical team worked on him for 45 minutes, trying to bring him back to life. And they couldn't. And when they stood up with that look of tragedy all over their face, one of them came over to me and said, ma'am, we're sorry you had to see this. I said, I am just sorry that I'm here in your way. It took me 10 years to find out who that young man was. His name's on the wall. His name is Robert Longoria Salinas. I tracked him down through casualty, and he lived in Pettis, Texas. But I waited too long because I couldn't catch up with his family to let them know the magnificent medical care he had received. So we're all coming home today to being recognized for who we are, Vietnam vets. We called ourselves the bootleggers of Old Long Binh. We had a great group. I'll give you one more thing, and then Peggy, I promise I'll shut up. I had my ukulele with me. And while you're over there, you got to do something to entertain yourself at night. So I began writing parodies. And I wrote one parody it was to the tune of the Green Beret, the Ballad of the Green Beret. This is after Colonel Hoisington had visited us and yelled at us for 4 days for wearing those trashy fatigues. So I wrote this song and remember the strain. U.S. Army Vietnam has me in an awful jam with Colonel Hoisington who storms at our damn trashy uniforms. And then we had a chorus we sang to go with it. And then I wrote Beautiful Long Binh to Beautiful Dreamer. Beautiful Long Binh beckons to you, monsoons and dust storms and tons of mildew, acres of nothing, oceans of mud. Who picked this location sure picked us a dud.
The sisters. Aren't they amazing? Then and now. Through a partnership with the Women's Memorial in Arlington Cemetery, WMSA, we have been able to secure a place to house our Hall of Fame. So thanks to General Vaught and the crowd from over there, but this award will be displayed in the Women's Memorial. With gratitude for what you did, welcome to the Army Women's Hall of Fame.
Thank you very much.
I don't think she should have this.
Well, I need to get this thing up so I can get this thing out. I accept this in the name of the more than 8,000 women in uniform who served in Vietnam from 1962 to 1975. Each of you owns one of these wonderful prisms. This is yours. Come visit it at the Women's Museum. And if you will let me do one other thing, I'm going to close everything for me by quoting from a poem that comes from the Jewish Book of Prayer that appears in a book that the women of the line put together about Vietnam. And it's a wonderful, so far as I'm concerned, ending. We remember them. And Jan Cobb used part of it too. In the rising of the sun and its going down, we remember them. In the blowing of the wind and the chill of winter, we remember them. In the rustling of leaves and the beauty of autumn, we remember them. In the beginning of the year and when it ends, we remember them. When we are weary and in need of strength, we remember them. When we are lost and sick at heart, we remember them. So long as we live, they too shall live, for they are now a part of us as we remember them. And I will forever remember you, and we will all remember each other in shared experiences in a difficult time in our nation's history. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, would you please welcome now Lieutenant Colonel Mary Coleman Spring and Colonel Alice Damaris, U.S. Army Women's Foundation members, and also representing the U.S. Army Women's Foundation's Scholarship Committee. Ladies?
Wait. Oh, man, I'm dying. you never age.
You want to bet?
I've been watching you for years.
It's all on the inside.
Is that it? Well, terrific. Good afternoon. We'll be fast here. I'm Colonel Alice Damaris. I'm a retired Army nurse, and I'm the chair of the 2012 Scholarship Committee. And this is Lieutenant Colonel Mary Coleman Spring. And Mary is currently at Georgetown. I'm really screwing this up here. And along with Patty Gronkowitz, who is at Anne Arundel College, and Peggy Trosen, who is the executive director of the foundation here. We served as the committee to select recipients for this year's scholarships. Tremendous applicants, absolutely tremendous applicants, and the recipients, the winners, are here, as you'll see the pictures. And the Army Women's Foundation Legacy Scholarship Program recognizes the importance of education and helping recipients to achieve their educational goals. The Legacy Scholarship Program offers financial support toward community college coursework and undergraduate degrees to Army women and their lineal descendants. You got that? Lineal descendants? Scholarships are based on merit, academic potential, community service, and need. The Legacy Scholarships are available for tuition assistance at the community college level and for four-year institutions. The community college level scholarships are in the amount of $1,000, and the four-year scholarships are at $2,500. Before we announce this year's winners, we'd like to take this opportunity to thank April Booth and Brenda Armitage, the administrative backbone of the Army Women's Foundation, and without their help, we wouldn't be able to put this together. So thanks very much, Brenda and April. So this year we've given 6 recipients, 1 to a community college student and 5 to students in four-year schools. And Mary and I are going to do this kind of as a tag team. So without further ado, Mary.
All right. What we're going to give you is messages from each of the recipients, and I think you will feel the pulse and the vein of what we've heard today, the pride that they take in receiving these awards, and their plans to do with the rest of their lives. Sabrina Higdon, Chattanooga State Community College. Your confidence and financial support will help me move one step closer to my goal, registered nurse at the local VA. My Army experience has contributed to my success as a mother and a soldier. Each experience forced me into a new level of growth as a soldier, a woman, and a mother. She says, thank you.
Joy Cassignal is the daughter of an Army servicewoman and a senior at the University of Texas in El Paso. She's majoring in mathematics. She's an accomplished honor student with multiple awards, and her goals are to be a high school math teacher, the coach for the ladies basketball team, and the community volunteer working with Army servicemen and women. Joy says that this scholarship has not only been a blessing, but also an encouragement for me to persevere through all adversities, no matter how tough the obstacle may seem to be. By representing this organization, I have been given the foundation and strength to make a difference in this world. Congratulations to Joy.
Our third recipient is Chief Warrant Officer, retired, Chief Warrant Officer 3, retired Nancy Cristiano, 26 and a half years service. She says, this scholarship will benefit me tremendously by paying for nearly all the books and fees that I will incur in my program of study at Indiana Wesleyan University. She is a single mother, paying for her 2 sons' education. She says, you have helped more than just one person. You have impacted the future of all 3 of us.
Specialist Maya Diane is an active duty soldier assigned to the 16th Combat Aviation Brigade as an aviation operations specialist at the Joint Base Lewis and McChord in Washington. Specialist Diane is a junior at Brandman University, majoring in organizational leadership, and was named as the 2011 Outstanding Soldier Scholar Award recipient at Brandon University. Specialist Dion states that being a United States Army Women's Foundation scholarship recipient is a great reward for me, and I couldn't have asked for more. I've been going to school so much that I'm out of tuition assistance and have to pay for my classes out of pocket. Being a single mother with 3 dependents makes budgeting tight, so I'm definitely happy to receive this award. Specialist Dion also stated, I want to show my gratitude to my mentor, Staff Sergeant Jennifer Churchill, for having shown me what an exemplary female non-commissioned officer is all about. She taught me how women can excel in any field they choose and to be the best example what an NCO should be. So thanks very much to Staff Sergeant Churchill for her leadership and mentorship, and congratulations to Specialist Dion.
Amber Gibson is at the University of Wisconsin-Eau Claire. She says, this award gives me a sense of empowerment. I will be the first person in my family to obtain a college degree, which is something remarkable. I want to be an advocate for others, and I will complete my lifelong dream of obtaining a bachelor's degree in nursing.
Specialist retired Latoya Lucas is a retired combat wounded warrior who was injured on a critical supply mission in Iraq while assigned to the 101st Airborne. A sophomore at William Peace University in North Carolina, Specialist Lucas is majoring in communications. During her long convalescence at Walter Reed Army Medical Center, Specialist Lucas dedicated her life's work to advocating for the combat-injured veterans as a motivational speaker. Her message of perseverance through adversity has touched the hearts of many affected veterans and others. Specialist Lucas has been rewarded for her persistence and work with numerous awards and has been named to the United States Department of Veterans Affairs Advisory Committee on Women's Veterans. It is only fitting that the Army Women's Foundation Legacy Scholarship recognize Specialist Lewis with this scholarship so she can continue to hone her skills as a speaker and as an advocate. Specialist Lucas tells us that the Army Women's Foundation is well known as a foundation that recognizes and honors the dedication and vision of women that have sacrificed in the defense of our nation. As an Army Wounded Warrior, I am extremely proud to be a recipient of the prestigious Army Women's Foundation Legacy Scholarship. Congratulations and thanks to Specialist Latoya Lucas.
And lastly, Yanis Wyrick, University of North Carolina at Greensboro. Receiving this scholarship gives me a confidence that someone else believes in me. I would like to take my blessings and share them with the public, and once I graduate, I want to become an Army officer. Congratulations.
So on behalf of the Army Women's Foundation, and especially for the Scholarship Committee, we want to say congratulations to all the recipients and to all those people who have applied, and we're looking forward to giving out lots more money next year. So thanks very much.
I want to thank our contributors and sponsors, because without them, there won't be a lot more scholarships given out last year. And since none of them could come this year, we asked them to give us a little blurb from why they wanted the scholarship. So I think that shows you how appreciative we are. And it was quite competitive, I understand, the number of applicants we had. So we certainly do want to give more. Thank you to everyone who has come today. Thank you for our sponsors. Thanks to the folks who were on the panel. A special thanks to Hayes and Associates. When we had the almost fire drill, if we had had it, in about 5.5 minutes, they came up with a plan where they were going to have someone stationed to turn here, here's the assembly area. The plan was, where's Donna Barbish? Talk about emergency preparedness. They've got it. They don't even need a consultant. Oh, well. No, but thank you for everything you've done. This is the fourth year we've partnered with you, and we really appreciate it. Thanks to everyone. I hope your eyes were opened more to our Army women who have served and are serving. There are some remarkable folks in that group of sisters, and I think we all appreciate them more today. General Cobb, thank you. I think we have a new friend. So on behalf of the Army Women's Foundation, I thank you all, and welcome to our new friend. Any admin announcements? Oh, thank you. Leon Harris, you make the day. So thank you very much. And this concludes the day. Thank you, everyone.